Good morning, news from FloorDaily.net, and I'm Kemp Harr. This morning my guest is Joe Yarbrough, the president of the CRI, the Carpet and Rug Institute. Joe, how you doing?
Kemp, I'm doing very well.
Happy holidays, post-Thanksgiving to you.
Well, we certainly as an industry and as individuals have very much to be thankful for after surviving the COVID year.
I agree.
So we're happy.
Let's just talk about that real quick. Just a little background. You know, if you look at our annual report issue or the May issue of Floor Focus, we've got the carpet side of the business, take the rug out of it, but dropped to about $7 billion. That's a kind of a low point. And then when you add the rugs in it, it's a $9.6 billion business. And if you look at the fastest growing category, resilient, that was at about $5.7 billion. So those were the 20 numbers. Obviously, we had a quarter there, almost a full quarter, at least 2 full months with very little activity. So this year has been much better. I talked to Dan Frierson the other day, and he was talking about how well his business is doing. I'd say close to 80% of his business is the soft surface side. So that was good to hear. It was also good to hear from him that the consumer's buying better carpet. So not only are we seeing unit growth and dollar growth, but we're seeing an average price per yard go up. I think he said something like close to 12%. I mean, a little bit of that might be price increases, but a lot of that's just better goods, right?
Yes, sir. That is certainly correct, and we feel very optimistic for our industry coming out of the second half of 2020, which was obviously a nice recovery compared to those first 2 quarters when nobody quite knew what was happening with anything in regards to the economy and being able to work and that sort of thing. So I think we've seen some stability. I would submit to you that it's been sort of a tale of 2 issues, though, because the economic reports and those kinds of data that we follow indicate that housing starts are continuing to be on the upper end of numbers that we haven't seen in quite a few years. We're seeing a lot of existing home sales that fortunately require, in many cases, remodeling and refreshing. So the good news is we've got those very positive things occurring. Mm-hmm. But the other side of that coin is we're seeing, unfortunately, significant inflation in just about everything from all raw materials to transportation, logistics, as well as the continued shortage of the necessary labor to operate our factories. So great demand, strong opportunity, just, finding ways to manufacture the inventories to meet the demand currently. So we'll take it, though.
Yeah, that's
it's
right.
It's certainly better than last year.
That's right. Let's hit a couple of those items. The newspaper in Chattanooga today ran a story on unemployment, and they mentioned Dalton, and unemployment, it's an all-time low. When there's few laborers left looking for a job, you have to pay more per hour. So that's one inflationary issue. You've got all these LVT players. That was a product that was mostly sourced, and you've got 5 or 6 companies that are building factories, and they need workers there as well, don't they?
That's exactly right. Not only quantity of workers in an already stressed area for the labor pool, but also the technologies that a modern plant requires.
You mentioned inflation of raw materials. You can't make carpet without polypropylene and without the face fiber and the latex, and all of those are petroleum-based products, and the price of a barrel of oil is up around 70 now, and we've seen that before. So that goes up and down just based on things around the world, right?
Well, they do. I think in 2020, with all the other headwinds we had, partially due to supply and demand, but also due to particularly supply, we were enjoying lower costs for petrochemicals and obviously the crude oil that is used and along with natural gas to produce those. But at $70 or $80 a barrel, we're seeing a pretty significant increase there of as much as 45%, depending on the item you're looking at. So I think we would all enjoy seeing a little more energy independence in our own country, from my perspective.
Yeah. My interview yesterday was a retailer who's up in Michigan, and she sells more carpet than she does hard surface, and she says that's because she lives in the cold part of the world, but we always love to hear that, don't we?
Yes, we do. And I've been in this industry now a little over 50 years, Kemp, and when I first came into it in 1970, we talked about, how those markets in the Northeast and upper Midwest love the soft floor covering for its insulation value. And my laws of physics tell me that hasn't changed today.
Yeah, well, another contributing factor real quick is that people are working from home. A lot of them have noisemakers, whether they be pets or family members, and they're finding out that that room where the Zoom machine is, a video, whatever you call it, you need to have that quiet, and so they're liking the carpet in there, aren't they?
Yes, sir, they are. There's so many wonderful attributes that carpet affords, not only being a value product, in terms of install cost per square foot or square yard, whichever metric you want to use, it's still one of the best values one can find, coupled with the attributes of softness, thermal properties, acoustic properties, slips and falls. So the attributes are very much in favor of someone looking to refurbish a room and or a space where those things like noise are a factor.
Yeah. Let's talk about your recent meeting. You had an annual meeting recently, and you talked about some of the things that you achieved last year. Obviously, the organization is focused on extended producer responsibility. Most people know about, what's happened in California. It's been going on for a long time. Other states have looked at it, but at this point have not passed it. So it's Illinois, Maine, Minnesota, New York, and Oregon. So that's good that has not happened, and I know you've actively been monitoring that. You also elected a new board, and your board officers, just to run through that real quick, Tom Penley, who's the chairman, and he's with Mannington Commercial. Kurt Hutchins, vice chairman, he's with Mohawk. And you have Becky Bowley, she's the treasurer with Shaw. All right, so you've got some two of those guys are a little younger than the folks that have been on there, so that's some new energy, right?
Yes, sir. We're real excited to have both Tom, who obviously has been in our industry for quite a long time, serving as our chairman for the next couple of years, and great individual, and we're really excited to have his leadership. Kurt Hutchins, who's also a great individual, but hasn't been in our flooring industry but a couple of years or so, and he's also a great individual, and looking forward to seeing his energy and ideas and contributions that he'll be able to make to the board. Mm-hmm. Additionally, our outgoing chairman, Vance Bell, the new CEO will be Tim Balcom.
Right.
I've had the privilege of knowing Tim for about 30 years, and Tim is just a great individual, and we're looking forward to having his active participation with CRI as well.
Yep.
So, next year, 2022, is going to be an exciting year for us as we begin to develop new strategies or approaches to our existing strategies, and having those contributors will be great for the organization.
Yeah, I should mention, some would say that Tim Balcom's a Lynn head because he's an engineer. His first job out of college of South Carolina was with DuPont in the fiber business. So he knows carpet through and through, doesn't he?
He absolutely does. I had the privilege when I was with Aladdin Mills before our merger with Mohawk that Tim was our fiber salesman.
Yeah.
That I had the privilege of working very closely with Tim. So we've had a great relationship for decades.
Well, it's good to catch up with you. Thanks for giving our listeners a read on what's been going on with the Carpet and Rug Institute. Again, been talking to Joe Yarbrough, the president of the CRI, and you've been listening to Kemp Harr and FloorDaily.net.